55 cars come to the line for the start of the 55th annual Rolex 24. We are green at the tri-oval, at the stripe, and it is Barbosa leaps into the lead over Cameron. But look at the outside. Ricky Taylor trying to get around from fourth, maybe to second. I don't think he's going to quite do it, or is he?
Well, he certainly put his nose around the outside. Dane Cameron didn't give him the lane there, but it's a Cadillac 1, 2, 3 with Johnny in fourth.
Kind of reminds me of Pipa Durrani last year, the move he made to introduce himself to American sports fans, kind of projecting what his plans were for the next 24 hours. They went on to just light the world on fire. We see the GTLM cars mixed up with those prototype challenge cars. That was a concern of those drivers. Acura off in the hairpin already.
That's the number 86 that just ran a little bit wide in the traffic jam. Big story there in that 81 Dragon Speed car that's mixed up with those 4 GTs. Huge wreck right before qualifying, had to miss qualifying, and did an amazing job of getting the car rebuilt for Dragon Speed. And here are the 2 Nissan DPIs. They were kind of a surprise announcement late in the going that they were going to have the DPI program. Cal, what a great addition.
It really is great to see these guys back on US soil on a full-time basis. They won this race last year, and now they go head-to-head with Mazda. It's Nissan versus Mazda up on the high banks and heading down to the bus stop chicane.
Barbosa coming through. That is a tricky corner, and of course, the first 2 pace laps, they don't run the bus stop, so this is their first time kind of getting into it in any type of anger here, and everybody comfortable. But now we get them 2-3 abreast diving in when we get back into the GT ranks. And note those 2 white, primarily white with the red and black highlights. Those are those new mid-engine Porsches. Exciting times for that mark.
Well, as Tommy mentioned, these guys have done a ton of testing. 40,000 kilometers, I believe, in their preseason testing, so they really feel this is a well-sorted machine. JB said they've moved that engine further forward.
Remember, Joey Hand had a comfortable-ish lead over the racing competizione. Ferrari no longer. Those two now, where are they? Heading down into the international.
Has got the 14 Lexus, just when we were talking out at the same place that Loic Duval went off. The car has hit the wall on driver's left, coming out of turn 1 and 2 of the 14 car. Is being ripped off. If it is a touch, it's one of the Corvettes. It's not a touch. It was just too much right foot from the very experienced Scott Pruitt. He had gone a little bit wide coming out of turn 1, and it just looked to me as he was coming round. I just saw the Corvette behind him briefly, and I thought there might have been a tap. Wonder if, well, offline it's going to be extremely slippery. Talking to the drivers and the mechanics from Audi earlier on, Jeremy, about just how quickly this track evolves on the racing line. The rubber comes on, you set the cars up to be loose at both ends, and then they're tightened up as the race goes on. A little too loose, I think, there for Scott.
Could get interesting, and they do it. Look at the move by Seb Morris down to the bottom, the youngster into the early lead, but now he's going to get parked.
Yeah, he just gets stymied there, and you see Jeff Gordon being very circumspect there. He didn't want to make any rash moves, and it was certainly a very brave move by young Seb Morris there, down almost on the apron to make the move down the inside of some traffic. And then he's going to clear these other GT cars relatively quickly, but this is what I expected here. I expected Jeff Gordon just to be really careful. There you see Seb Morris, he's taking chances. Look at that, Jeff Gordon very much in the mix. The 70 car, I think he'd just come out of pit lane.
I think Jeff got into the back of him.
Got into him hard, and that was that cold tires. He actually decided not to pass a slower car. Just all locked up, and the car will not turn. I'm sure he thought he was being easy, but the 70 really, let's see how much if the 70 turns in or if it keeps out wide. I mean, this is on Jeff Gordon, but you see the car up ahead coming out of the pits on the left. And now he realizes he's in trouble. Yeah.
Similar thing happened to him in the night practice over into turn 6.
Driver change. Dirk Werner has gotten out, and Fred Makovecki has jumped behind the wheel of that car. But we also had the number 70 Mazda. It was stationary on the pit lane. They had actually turned the car off and plugged a data cable into it. Full tank of fuel, no tires for that car. As the engineers.
Paul, how long it spent in the pits, where it actually had stopped first, or just came through as a straight run.
Second in the pits, which would be about the right time for a normal pit stop. So I would guess they put fuel in that car, sent him on his way, but it was only 20 laps onto his stint.
Eric Curran trying to...
Then the rain came. It did, and it was a steady rain. You can see there the spray. The 10 car was in very strong form through these midnight early hours of the day, and then Brendan Hartley had got this 22 machine.
Have taken some time to make the cars better, suitable for this weather condition. So we'll have to wait and see. I mean, René is doing his thing out there, and like I said before, we have to stay out of trouble and keep our nose clean.
Our Twitter feed have spotted that one hardy soul, and only one, is at the moment swathed in waterproofing and is in the main stands under the floodlights not far in front of us and down.
Boy, they've had so many incidents during this race, both cars.
Chris Cumming at the wheel of the 8 car, yeah, the 4th placed PC machine, and actually into, yes, the Armco barrier covered by the Rolex advertising hoarding there. So this
and clouded the 991 and put him hard into the wall. 31 had problems, got back out on the track, then had problems again, and close call here. Several cars, but the 10 almost
get by that bodywork, which is split in 2. Now, did it just suddenly get sucked underneath the car out of the blue? No, it's got sucked above the car, nearly clouded the driver on the head there.
The headlamp had already gone. There was that might well have been the final straw for that, the pressure getting underneath.
PC cars having trouble. This is James Dayson, 2 times in a row. Issues and close racing everywhere. Ringer Van de Zandt in the 90.
It's taken one of the advertising hoardings with it. Now, which car was that? 2 or 22? I think it's the 2.
Yes,
it is the 2.
And now, well, Travis Roffler of Continental will be delighted to get that coverage as he swerves out right in front of a BMW. That must be the 19 car.
It is, yeah.
And leaves the Continental tyre.
It was the 90 and the 911 making contact in turn 1. Max the Axe, Angelelli, a move to the outside for the lead. Final laps in a motor race. He's retiring at the end of this one. What a move by the Italian. And moves like that, that's how you go out on top. Angelelli climbing out of a race car in competition for his final time. How slow do you go? Well, Christian Fittipaldi on relatively cold tires loses it at what seems like a crawl. He did continue. Fight in GT Le Mans has been absolutely spectacular. Manufacturers that are at play there. Here you have 2 of the world's best. Ford with their Ford GT, and then James Collado in his Ferrari. Collado takes the lead.
Back in 2000, on the GT Championship.
Contact out front, that's between the 2 leaders, is it not? Because the Cadillacs have, well, I didn't see the incident myself. I saw the number 5 car going wide, and there was contact maybe with the 10 I was mentioning. So, heading off the tri-oval, here comes the 10 car, braking, but not sufficiently. And there was no gap there for me. No. Ricky Taylor went for a closing door, and it was a spin in the end for Philippe Albuquerque, wincing on the Pratt perch there. Oh,
that was my impression from looking out of the window as the cars came across the line. There was no call in that situation, and there was no call in this situation either. But look at this battle for GTLM.
Porsche versus Ferrari, 488,
and all of a sudden, Dirk Mueller isn't in the sight, is he? Because he's pulled out a couple of seconds all of a sudden.
Yeah, 2.1 is the gap now. 0.2 of a second between the Porsche of Pile and the Ferrari of James Collado. Let's see whether Collado can get an overlap into the braking area. I don't think he can find an inside line. Paul Truswell.
Yeah, this lap and 1 more to go. And of course, once these 2 go through, then we have the GTLM battle to finish their race. So it'll be the prototypes that finish their race first, no matter what, and then the GTLM cars.
Tweet from Alex Capadia, who is a contributor often to Radio Le Mans and IMSA radio coverage. He, in his opinion, was ambitious from Ricky Taylor, but he was overlapping the 5 when the 5 started to close the door. Albuquerque's fault for him. At worst, 50-50, says Alex Capadia. A minute to go on the clock. The white flag is being prepared now and about to be displayed to Ricky Taylor. So Ricky, 6, 5, 7 laps completed. He's coming out of Speedway Turn 4 now, and here is the white flag displayed to Wayne Taylor Racing and the brand new Cadillac. Over the line it goes, the DPI VR, and into the turn number 1 for the final time. We have 35 seconds on the clock. The lead margin has come down again. 1.5 seconds between Ricky Taylor and Philippe Albuquerque. Meanwhile, James Collado trying to find a way by the Porsche of Patrick Pilet. Can't do it there at the West Horseshoe, and Pilet almost deliberately running out a touch wider than he would do ordinarily, so that the Ferrari can't find a way up the inside at turn 6 either. What's the exit speed like for the 911 car? Pretty good. Up onto the banking. There are cars to negotiate here, and quickly the 911 swoops back down to the double yellow line there with the clock now reading 0. We are on the final lap. That is confirmed, but the leaders are so close here. 1.5 seconds has become maybe a second as they head into Speedway Turn 1.
And in GTD a couple of laps ago, it looked like the Porsche of Michael Christensen had a pretty comfortable 2-second advantage. They're going down into Turn 5, and there's less than a car length between those two in a battle for GTD.
So final time right down the back straight. This is going to be a first win for Cadillac Power and a 7th for GM engined efforts under 4 different brands: Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile and New Cadillac. Just the question is, which one's going to win it? Ricky Taylor surely has enough from here. It is going to be so tight. Remember, this is a 24-hour race. They're coming out of Speedway Turn 4 now. It's going to be Wayne Taylor Racing to take a victory they came so close to just a couple of years ago. Over the line they go, with the checkered flag being displayed to Ricky Taylor, who wins the Rolex 24 by 0.671 of a second. And Wayne Taylor cannot believe it down there in Wayne Taylor Racing's pit garage. Meanwhile, side by side for James Collado, who's going to be on the outside line in GTLM. Please don't throw it off, boys. Patrick Pilet versus Collado for second position. This is all playing very tightly into the hands of Dirk Muller as Michael Christensen is about to cross the line in the number 28 car, the 28 Allegra Motorsport Porsche 911 GT3R, and the 911 RSR provides Porsche with yet another extension to one of the longest podium scoring runs in world motorsport. Now over 55 runnings of this race. A tremendous effort from them. We're still waiting for the GTLM cars to head over the line, and Dirk Muller leading that class in the number 66 Ford GT. Remember, the Ford GT debuted here 12 months ago. They had so many problems, but the second place battle is yet to be decided. They're both going to be on the podium, I hope, but in what order? The Porsche versus the Ferrari, the 488. They're through the bus stop, still in the same order. Pilet ahead of James Collado. Meanwhile, the Ford GT's working its way out of Speedway Turn 4, and Dirk Muller for the 66 crew about to come over the line. The ESMs are going to finish side by side for a photo finish, but it is Ford that win here, and so close further back. James Collado desperately trying the inside line, the outside line, cannot find a way by the Patrick Pilet driven Porsche in the end, and Ford win GTLM 52 years after the first of 2 overall wins by the Ford GT40. And you can tell the family resemblance, I'd say, between the Ford GT40 and the Ford GT. Dallara score their second win after 2002. I'll give you some more of those statistics right after we hear from Jordan Taylor with Shea Adam.
Jordan, it's a childhood dream realized to win the 24 Hours of Daytona, to do it with your parents on the pit box as Max's last race. I know you're emotional, but what are you feeling right now?
Just relief. I mean, we've come so close so many times, and to be honest, I'm just proud of my brother. He made it happen today, and this all goes out to Konica Minolta and for Cadillac. It's great. I'm speechless.
Congratulations.
He's not normally speechless, Jordan Taylor, but you can hear the emotion there in his voice. Boy, that was a hard-won victory, John.
Oh, magic stuff. And Johnny Palmer, we've sent him for a lie down in a darkened room. Marvellous stuff from Johnny Palmer. Coming up, Michelin, Post Race Tech. Keep the questions coming in at IMSA Radio, hashtag Michelin PRT. The whole team are getting on the Dallara Cadillac to head to
John, it's Nick. Can you throw? I'm going to try to get your hand.
And Nick Damon talking to us there. Nick, that was on air.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was on air. I do apologise. Down now with in the celebration of Ford, just trying to go a quick word with Joey Ham from the 66. Joey, fantastic result. You won yourself a watch.
Oh man, this is. I told my family.